Hello and welcome to the Collapse Experiment, where we're going to talk about organization I have absolutely no freaking love for because they are god awful horrible people. They're up there with Quickstar, Amway, except those companies you actually receive a product. Crappy or not, you actually get something for your money. Whereas with BLM, you get absolutely nothing in return except a little badge that says, I'm not racist as of right now until they say otherwise. Yeah, so Black Lives Matter teeters on bankruptcy as insider transactions continue. Oh, yes. Black Lives Matter finished its latest fiscal year nearly 9 million in the red, even as the world's premier race grifting organization continued shelling out millions to execs and relatives. Because that's not illegal or anything, or at least it shouldn't be. Should it be? Should that be illegal? Yes, it should. So yeah, relatives of co-founder Patrice Cullors, according to new tax documents posted last week and first reported by the Washington Free Beacon. Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation spent double what it took in. They spent double what they took in. Apparently, Marxists are really good at math. 17 million in outlays against just 8.5 million in gross revenue. If you want that free money, you need to go out and protest some police shooting black guys. Did that stop after 2020? Did they solve that problem? Is this an actual case where a nonprofit actually solved the thing that they were saying they're going to stop? Nope. They just they got the money and they ran. In contrast, the group took in a whopping 77 million in contributions and grants in the preceding fiscal year, which included half of 2020, the summer of love, baby. Yeah, assets plummeted by 28% year over year from 41.9 million to 30.2 million for the fiscal year. Okay, whoa. Let's see here. That is So they spent 17 million out of 8.5 million, but they already had 77 million in contributions for 2020. So then we got 2021, 2022. So these bitches made over 140, almost 150 million dollars, and they're bankrupt. All right, that means it has spent 2/3 of the 90 million it raised in 2020, reports the New York Post. Given this report for the fiscal year that ended on June 30th, 2022, the group's balance sheet may look a lot worse today after another 11 months of potential deterioration. Yeah, ooh, she is. Mm-mm. Yeah, I can see why. No, she didn't give up on men. Men gave up on her. Okay, broke down by major categories. Black Lives Matter spent 11.5 million on program service expenses, 5.1 million on management general expenses, 485,000 on fundraising. They did not get their money's worth on that. After all, you have to spend money to waste money. Yeah, that's what they're saying here. Co-founder Cullors quit the group in May 2021 after the New York Post revealed wild spending by the group and Cullors herself, with massive amounts of the purported charity money also flowing to her family members, some of the greatest hits. Well, yeah, we're going through these. BLM paid $970,000 to a company owned by the father of Cullors' child. I thought she was a lesbian. What? Produce live events and for creative services. Oh, he was creating some services, all right. I think it was long before BLM ever existed. Her brother, Paul Colors, was paid 840,000 for providing security services for the group. Colors spent 3.2 million to buy 4 high-end homes, including a $1.4 million house near Malibu and a custom ranch in Georgia with an airplane hangar and runway. Who the hell does she think she is? John Travolta? BLM bought a $5.6 million mansion in Los Angeles with which Colors claimed is an investment that would also serve as a media creation space and even a safe house for activists. She hosted a Biden inauguration party there. Yeah, because you done killed Bernie Sanders' run for president. Nobody seems to remember that except for me. The group and its affiliates bought a $1.7 million luxury condo in the Bahamas and a $6 million Toronto mansion. Does it say it in here? But the Toronto mansion, so she funneled that money to her wife. I don't know. Is she the butch or the bitch? I don't know. But she funneled the $6 million to her wife's nonprofit in Canada to buy this mansion. That was also the previous headquarters for the Communist Party in Canada. Yeah. So of course they wanted it. Many eyebrow-raising expenditures have continued according to the latest financial disclosures. A company owned by Color's successor, Bowers, was paid $1.69 million. That's convenient. Over 2 years for management and consulting fees. A board member's firm took $1.06 million for consulting, and an unidentified board member's company got $600,000 in the settlement of a contract dispute. These people don't know, for one, how many black kids did they put through college? And how many people did they bail out? Of course, that was Kamala Harris's job during 2020. How many funerals did they pay for? What about the legal expenses for families who had their loved ones killed by the police, which is what they were supposed to be protesting? I'm not seeing any of that on here at all. Color's brother security company, Black Ties LLC, was paid another $756,000, and the brother himself also scored $125,000 in compensation, plus another $15,000 for unspecified security. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense to me. While Patrice Cullors was forced to resign due to charges of using BLM's funds for her personal use, no. It looks like she's still keeping it all in the family. Yeah, the National Legal and Policy Center's Paul Kamenar told the Washington Free Beacon. Ohio State University accounting professor Mittendorf was more diplomatic, telling Newsweek that the most significant issue arising from the new disclosure filings is the continued and substantial transactions with insiders. While it is not improper per se, oh, yes, it is. We can say that. It does raise concerns about potential conflicts of interest in governing the organization. So, yes, we can say it is improper. What is with these experts who just contradict themselves while they talk? Referring to the giant influx of money following George Floyd's killing in Minneapolis by Minneapolis police, Colors marveled that it was a lot of white guilt money. There's a lot of white folks being like, we just got to put the money. That's what I'm reading here. There's a lot of white folks being like, quote, we just got to put the money. What the bleep does that mean? Do these people speak English? What the hell? And this is what people are giving their money to. I don't feel bad to these idiots who contributed to this bullshit. So yeah, and let's see here. What's more tragic is capitalism. BLM faces bankruptcy as founder Patrice Cullors is cut by Warner Brothers. No. 2 years ago, I wrote columns about companies pouring money into Black Lives Matter to establish their bona fides as anti-racist corporations. The money continued to flow despite serious questions raised by BLM's management and accounting. Wow, so they were raising their own serious questions on themselves. Democratic prosecutors like New York Attorney General James showed little interest in these allegations, even as James sought to disband the National Rifle Association for similar allegations. What? Okay. At the same time, BLM co-founder Patrice Cullors cashed in with companies like Warner Brothers, eager to give her massive contracts to signal their own reformed status. It now appears that BLM is facing bankruptcy after burning through tens of millions, and Warner Brothers cut ties with Cullors after the contract produced zero new programming. Some states belated investigated BLM as founders like Cullors seem to scatter to the winds. Yeah. Pretty soon she's just going to be running some antique shop with her wife in the middle of some weird town where they belittle white people as they go through their old BLM stash. Yeah, gone are tens of millions of dollars, including millions spent on luxury mansions and windfalls for close associates of BLM leaders. This kind of reminds me of MC Hammer. He had one hit and he was just paying everybody ungodly amounts of money until the money was gone. Like this was going to last forever. But he didn't really produce any new song. He ended up going back to church, is what he did. The usual suspects gathered around the activists, like former Clinton campaign general counsel Mark Elise, who later removed himself from his key role as these scandals grew. When questions were raised about the lack of accounting and questionable spending, BLM attacked critics as, come on, you can think of it. What would BLM attack their critics as being? White supremacist. Of course. It's just one of those things that has absolutely no meaning anymore. Warner Brothers, one of the companies eager to grab its own piece of colors to signal its own anti-racist virtues. It gave Colors a lucrative contract to guide the company in the creation of both scripted and non-scripted content, focusing on reparations. Okay, and other forms of social justice. It launched a publicity campaign for everyone to know what it established, a wide-ranging content partnership with Colors, who would now help guide the massive corporation's new programming, calling Colors one of the most influential thought leaders in American public life. Warner Brothers announced that she was going to create a wide array of new programming, including but not limited to live action scripted drama, comedy series, long form event series, unscripted docu-series, animated programming for co-viewing among children, young adults, and families, and original digital content. A long list of absolutely nothing was accomplished. Nothing. She did nothing. That's what Marxists do. That's why they were out there protesting. We're going to walk in the street, make people feel guilty, and they'll hand us checks. That is her whole scheme right there. Like at least Kim Kardashian produced a porn video, but no, Patrice Cullors did nothing. She did nothing. She didn't even help black folks. Some are now wondering if Warner Brothers even intended for this contract to produce anything other than a public relations pitch, to whether Colors took the money and ran without producing even a trailer for an actual product. Indeed, both explanations may be true. Paying money to Colors was likely viewed as a type of insurance to protect the company from accusations of racial insensitivity. Huh? After all, the company was given creative powers to a person who had no prior experience or demonstrated talent in the area, or any other area for that matter. Yet, Colors would be developing programming for one of the largest media and entertainment companies in the world. One can hardly blame Colors, despite criticism by some on the left for going on a buying spree of luxury properties. After all, Colors was previously open about her lack of interest in working with capitalist elements. Are you effing serious? What's more capitalistic than owning property? You're a landowner. Marx would be highly disappointed in you. Nevertheless, BLM was run like a Trotskyite study group as the media and corporations poured in support and revenue for no fucking reason whatsoever. It was glaringly ironic to see companies like Warner Brothers falling over each other to grab their own front person as the group continued boycotts of white-owned businesses. Indeed, if you did not want to be on the wrong end of one of those boycotts, you needed to get Colors on your payroll. I do. Is that called blackmail? Blackmail, extortion. I'm pretty sure that's extortion. It was glaringly ironic to see companies, blah, blah, blah. Much has now changed as companies like Bud Light have been rocketed by boycotts over what some view as heavy-handed virtue signaling campaigns. It was quite a change for Colors and her BLM co-founder, who previously proclaimed, "We are trained Marxists. We are super versed on sort of ideological theories." She denounced capitalism as worse than COVID-19, yet companies like Lululemon rushed to find their own social justice warrior while selling leggings for $120 a piece. Are these those yogurt pants that everybody's always talking about? $120 a piece? Some began to raise questions about Colors buying luxury homes. Facebook and Twitter censored them because Facebook is a bunch of assholes, and Twitter, again, they're just a bunch of assholes too. I'm sorry, but Elon Musk, you need to start firing some of the people who are still pulling the same bullshit that was happening before. It's gotten better, but Twitter still sucks. Let's face it. Facebook is just god awful. With increasing concerns over the loss of millions, Colors eventually stepped down as executive director of the Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation, as others resigned. Yes, others resigned. They're focusing on Colors here, but several other people resigned before she did because they're just like, I don't want any part of this bullshit. I am not going to jail. At the same time, the New York Post was revealing that BLM Global Network transferred $6.3 million to Colors' spouse, Jania Khan, and other Canadian activists to purchase a mansion in Toronto in 2021, which is also the head building for the Communist Party, and they're not covering that here either. It's a nice little fact. They bought the former headquarters for the Canadian Communist Party. According to the Washington Examiner, BLM PAC and Los Angeles-based jail reform group paid Colors $20,000 a month. $20,000 a month? Are you effing serious? It also spent nearly $26,000 on meetings at a luxury Malibu beach resort in 2019. 2019. So that is before George Floyd OD'd. I'm just going to say it. Yeah. So they're spending $26,000 on meetings in luxury Malibu beach resort a year before they had any money coming in. Reform LA jails chaired by Colors. Okay, and wait, reform LA jails, and you helped elect Kamala Harris. How stupid can you be? They can't manage millions of dollars. So yeah, reform LA jails. We're gonna get Kamala Harris elected as vice president. That's just amazing. received 1.4 million, of which 205,000 went to the consulting firm owned by Colors and her spouse, according to New York Magazine. Right. Once again, while figures like James have spent huge amounts of money and effort to disband the NRA over such accounting and spending controversies, there have been only limited efforts directed against BLM in New York and most states, although in California it is now illegal to donate money to Black Lives Matter, which is effing weird. That is weird, okay? Yeah, California, you can't donate to BLM. That's a huge red flag right there. Colors once declared that while the COVID 19 illness is tragic, what's more tragic is capitalism. Are you serious? These companies seem to be trying to prove their point, yet, at least for Colors, Warner Brothers fulfilled its slogan that this is the stuff that dreams are made of. She did absolutely no work, no nothing, didn't contribute anything to anyone except for herself. And yeah, now she's bankrupt. It's amazing. I love stories like this. People, karma is finally coming around. But here's my fear. We have an election coming up. The Democrats might pick up that phone and say, hey, Patrice, you did some great work for us back in 2020. Do you happen to know any looters or arsonists that we could get motivated to do some things like we did back then? Yeah, perhaps shift this campaign around a bit and make people remember that they're the racists that we said that they were. So yeah, I have more about this on my Substack, the Collapse Experiment, substack.com. Bankrupt Lesbian Marxist is the title of that piece. You can find it over there. You can also find a link to it at the collapseexperiment.com. And if all of this seemed like it was just, I don't know, a one-sided endeavor, keep in mind that the J6 rioters, I'm saying it was a mostly peaceful protest, are raking in thousands in donations. It's not really all that much. I think it's like 26,000 they raised for legal fees. Now the US is coming after their haul. So it's okay to donate to something like BLM, who are going to waste your money on stupid, frivolous things and not helping the communities they said they're going to help. But no. You can't raise money to help people with actual legal fees who are political prisoners who are being held in solitary confinement without being charged for crime. Oh, no. You can't do that because the Justice Department will come and take that money for absolutely no effing reason whatsoever. We've seen this before in the past. Aaron Schwartz had his money confiscated, even though he wasn't selling the documents he was downloading, not stealing, downloading. He was a student. He had access to these documents and studies, but for some reason they didn't like how many he was downloading. So they took his money from selling Reddit, saying that he had gotten it by ill-gotten gains, selling his website. Yeah, so he also couldn't have any money for legal fees. Yeah, this is kind of the same thing. You're not allowed to raise money to help these people who are political prisoners for the Biden regime. We're going to call it a regime at this point. Yeah, so anyways, GOP lawmakers demand FBI briefing on J6 pipe boom probe following whistleblower disclosures regarding suspect. Gee, I wonder what that could be. Let's take a look. We've got a few minutes here. Republicans on the House Judiciary Committee are demanding an FBI briefing on the status of their J6 pipe shaped boom investigation following disclosures that the feds have enough information to identify the suspect. Wow, they do. I wonder if he's in the guy in the cubicle next to them. In a letter to FBI Director Christopher Wray, Judiciary Committee Chairman Jim Jordan said the following progression of the Bureau's investigation into the pipe things raised significant concerns about the FBI's prioritization of that case in relation to other J6 investigations. Well, for one, weren't they inert devices, which usually says false flag, false flag. Yeah. Yeah, that's usually what that turns out to be. Former FBI agent Kyle Seraphin, a whistleblower who worked on the investigation, told the Washington Times that after planting the boom booms, the suspect used a Metro Rail Smart Trip card to travel through the Washington Metro system to a stop in Northern Virginia. Huh. The FBI used security footage on the Northern Virginia to identify the license plate of the car that the individual entered. Still, the FBI has not identified the suspect because he's probably running his own investigation on himself. Seraphin told the Times reporter Carrie Pickett that a separate individual bought the Metro Rail Smart Trip card 1 year before the pipe thing. Suspect used it on January 5th. The card had never been used before. It was bought a year prior by a retired chief master sergeant in the Air Force, because the Air Force has never been involved in weird false flag events, and he was a security contractor, so he held a security clearance. Okay, I don't know what they eventually did on that case, but I know that it was BS and the devices were BS. It seems like they had a good lead and they could have run it down, but as far as I know, they never did. He told the Times he may still be occasionally surveilled. That's how dumb it gets. And on that note, I think this is probably going to be my last story for today, because I can only handle so much stupid before my own IQ drops. And when you're talking about the FBI, things don't get much dumber than that, especially when it comes to J6 or BLM or anything else that should have been investigated, wasn't investigated, or things that should not have been investigated and for some reason were and prosecuted for no reason at all, other than somebody was like, I feel insecure about my own appointment, man. Where's my ice cream? So yeah, that's about it for me today. I still have to go to work again. And I know it's been a few days, but I was on vacation. And yeah, you think I would have more time being on vacation. That's not the case. So yeah, feels good to be back. Feels good to see that BLM is no longer going to be a concern in the coming election. And hope you guys are feeling good about that too. Keep on typing.